It's frozen.
Watch it.
We can still, I mean, you're fine. We can
No, not this one that I'm using for my camera.
Oh,
well, we're live, so you better work.
Your wealth of information computer.
We are live, yeah.
You're like Ron Burgundy. How are we going to do this show if we don't have a prompter for Emerson?
You're absolutely right. I got the sports book open. I have DraftKings.
Stay classy,
open,
San Diego.
and I have my dog's Instagram page open. All right, so where do you want to start among those three?
I mean, I kind of want to start at your dog's Instagram page, but we'll probably get
welcome.
That, so.
Welcome, Jeff, and Reed T. Fowler to the Slate Wednesday edition of the Slate, the highest rated edition of the Slate. Producer Eamon behind the scenes, AC on the ones and twos. We got a lot to get to today, right? We got to break down the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which we've been doing for 3 days on the Sweat. So maybe we'll see if we can get some fresh bets out of you guys. Also, there's a lot of stuff going on in the NFL world because all the teams are have reported to training camp. A lot of players are futures are still kind of up in the air. Like where the hell Jimmy G's going to go? You got Kyler Murray, Reed T. Fowler, who's being forced to study. Can you imagine that, Reed? Can you imagine being a player, a professional football quarterback? You're chewing up 20% of your team's salary cap, and they have got to force you to do your homework.
Yeah, Emerson, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here, as always. Thank you. Jeff, you're looking lovely. Emerson,
whatever. I'll take it.
I take this a couple of ways. One, yes, I can believe it because these, for the majority of them, they're less cerebral than they are athletic, right? And all of us have played some form of sport. Jeff runs for a living very well and bikes and swims. And when you put those together, he's a triathlete, a very good one. He'll tell you that he's not. There's few things that I commend
Jeff's
Jeff
not
on.
good at anything.
There's few things that I will applaud Jeff on. A triathlon, I respect because I tried it. I tried to train and I couldn't even train for a triathlon, but I digress. So there's most athletes, right? They're so gifted athletically. They rarely have to turn on the cerebral, but the best, right? The Peyton Mannings of the world, the Tom Brady's of the world. Look at like the Greg Maddoxes in pitching. Look at the Tiger Woods in golf. The best guys who reach the zenith of their sport, they are a mixture of both. And so if you're the Cardinals, like you didn't have to do this. You didn't have to, you could have picked up his option. You didn't have to do this right now. You could have waited, could have saved money. You could have waited, and Kyler under contract would have to play. So the Cardinals are saying, okay, if we're going to do this, we need some safeguards. Like, do your homework. But at the same time, right, like I can understand why, because if he's sitting there and saying, oh, well, I'm not really a film guy, just it comes to me. I'm like Chris Angel, and it just comes to me naturally. BS. Like every quarterback, especially quarterback, needs to watch film. Period. Full stop. I don't care who you are. You can be the most gifted person in the world. Defensive coordinators are going to pick up on what you're putting down, especially Kyler. Kyler is potentially bottled into a certain type of quarterback. And if you don't watch film and you're not anticipating what the DCs are already anticipating you're going to do, you're going to suck. So, yeah, I definitely understand it.
Hey, Ulrich, I know we talked to you a little bit about this this morning, but like a separate question I have for you is how do you think his new deal, Kyler Murray's new deal, will impact Lamar Jackson's future?
Ooh.
Yeah, that is an interesting question. I mean, Lamar Jackson sees Kyler Murray second biggest contract behind Aaron Rodgers, I believe. The guarantees, and he probably says, "Well, guys, I'm better. Like, I'm just better. Like we had like a whatever. How many wins did they have that one year? 14. I can't even remember." We've been competitive every year I've been here. Last year we can write off to injuries. I don't miss games. Lamar Jackson's looking at it and saying, that's like the floor. Give me add 20 million to that, and that's the floor, guys. So, I mean, it impacts it. It's the Ravens are going to have to make a decision. Yeah. They're going to commit to a guy who was obviously, is a running back, or not a running back, is a quarterback who relies on his legs And, that can potentially dry out. But I mean, look, that's Lamar Jackson's still a really good quarterback. And it's not just the legs. I mean, he's developing as a passer. He's never going to be Patrick Mahomes, but no one is. He does bring obviously like some pretty good metrics in terms of quality of throws as well. So I think he looks at it and says, like, if Kyler's getting this, you guys better pony up. So I think it's good for him. I think it's going to be interesting to see what the Ravens end up doing. I mean, I think they'll end up paying him, but yeah, it's definitely set a pretty high floor.
Yeah. Reed, how much do you think Jackson would command in a new deal? Because
he'd be the highest paid quarterback.
Okay. All right. Because I'm thinking, like, I've seen the reports. Ravens say they're ready to talk. Jackson, he's been like slow to engage. And to me, that's likely because he represents himself, by the way. So maybe he's just trying to confirm his like market value because of all these like deals that are happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it started with Deshaun Watson. That's fully guaranteed contract. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I think Deshaun Watson was, crazy. But they had to do it, right? There's I think, out of necessity, Cleveland, if you just look at the laundry list of quarterbacks that they've had under center in Cleveland, they basically would do anything, moral or not, right? They're going to do what's necessary. And a lot of people have short memories when it comes to that stuff, but that's for another podcast. That's for another show. But with Lamar Jackson, I think numbers that have been thrown out there, because Kyler's getting what, guys? Like what was his contract? I know it was over 5. Was it 40 a year over 5 years?
Oh yeah.
46, I believe.
46. Yeah. So, that, like, it's, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Lamar get 50, right? And which is like, oh my God, $50 million a year. But look at what Lamar Jackson does, right? Lamar Jackson allows you to basically not have to not worry about running backs when they have contract negotiations. You can just circulate rookies in that backfield, right? Because Lamar Jackson will make any respectable running back out of college effective. And when you have Mark Andrews as the top tight end this season coming into it, basically being a hybrid of those wide receivers, I guess a quote unquote younger Travis Kelce, then you and a solid defense. I think that the Ravens might have the best secondary in the NFL by all metrics, and like that's what you need, right? And look at the division, especially when it gets late in the season, guys. That division, especially when you have a guy like Lamar, you're not like, how can you tackle that guy when it's the fourth quarter in December in Pittsburgh or December in Baltimore? Like, you just you can't. And so when you have someone like Lamar, look, he's a little hurt. He has to go potty at halftime, all that stuff. Outside of that stuff, I still think he gets disrespected for how good he is as a passer. Not necessarily like the stats, because we get so enamored with fantasy for good and bad. But if you take a look at his footwork, I think it's one of the best in the pocket. And when you take a look at that, and guys like Josh Allen and these other guys who had accuracy issues early on the season, in their career, look at what they're doing now. I'm not saying he's Josh Allen yet, but that's the trajectory for someone like Lamar.
Jeff, what happens if a deal isn't done before week 1? I mean, we're looking for a crash course for the franchise tag then next year.
Yeah, I mean, if Lamar Jackson doesn't get it done, I mean, a lot of scenarios come up. Like, I think everything's kind of open. So, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting situation to watch. I think it does speak volumes a little bit too. Like, the Bengals are already talking about Joe Burrow extensions, and then like Baltimore is like, we're here in an extra year, and it's like still haven't extended Lamar Jackson. So they've hit like the point of no return kind of thing. Like, things can get weird from here on in with Lamar Jackson, just in terms of like options and things that could happen. So yeah, it's definitely something to look at and watch. I mean, this year, just for fantasy and betting, he's gonna be a Raven. Like, it's not that. It's really just like future stuff. So I think that I mean, it's one of those things, like for fantasy and betting, you're really not like that concerned about this year, but it's still a really interesting story, right? And then with Murray and all this stuff coming out about that, you kind of want to see how these contracts are handled from here on out, and if there's any weird stuff that gets put in it. So I don't know. Yeah, the Lamar Jackson thing is interesting. it hasn't been like the greatest offseason for the Ravens in terms of that relationship either. Like the Marquise Brown thing obviously came out of left field. Obviously, Lamar Jackson had a negative reaction to that too. So, if I was a Ravens fan, even if I was just like bullish on Lamar Jackson, you'd kind of just like to see this get done. Like, I mean, it's hanging out there. I don't know. It's football, man. Like injuries happen early. Maybe he's just like, okay, well, I'm not extended. I mean, I'm not going to risk it. I don't know. We're looking into the future now, but still, as a Raven or a Lamar Jackson fan, you'd like to see this get done.
Yeah, really quickly, guys, in terms of the arithmetic and the Baltimore side of it, because we're throwing out numbers like 50 mil, 40 mil, and those are nice. But if you take a look at what the Ravens can do in 2023, they can exercise his 5th-year option, which I think puts him down for 23 mil. And then if he goes 2024, the franchise tag, I think it's projected around 33 million. For 2024, and then 2025, if they franchise him again, it's 40 mil. And the big thing to note here with all this stuff is the salary cap and how it's changing for the NFL, right? Basically, in 2024, that will only account, I believe, for like 15 or 17% of Baltimore salary cap, and then obviously a little bit more the following year. So Baltimore could do it, right?
The one thing about that is, if they don't extend him, I don't even know if they'd be able to franchise him next year because he'll just hold out.
Yeah.
Like he will. I mean, like there's just no way that
Lamar Jackson. It's a Dak Prescott scenario, right?
Exactly. Right. Like he just won't happen. So
which says this isn't like an unprecedented scenario because we saw it with Dak. I thought this was the last year of his rookie deal, Reed. But I could be like totally wrong with that.
With Lamar? No, they had the 5th-year option. I'm pretty sure Reed's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's my bet on that. And then just one more, guys, before we go over to golf, because like when the offseason started, I thought like Jimmy Garoppolo, I thought a trade obviously seemed inevitable. I think we all kind of expected that. And then it was it yesterday or the day before they said, hey, front office management, head coach, Shanahan, like everyone said, okay, we moved on to Trey Lance. So the musical chairs, that game has ended with, the quarterbacks in the offseason. Jimmy Garoppolo is the only one left standing. So, I mean, Reed T. Fowler, what happens next for Jimmy G? What do you think is the most likely scenario right now?
Well, once we hit mid-August, I think that's what guys like Rap Sheet and Schefter were reporting, is that he gets fully cleared in August, meaning then now teams are going to say, okay, right, you kind of passed that first physical. We're going to obviously bring you in for that second physical. I think there's, I don't think San Francisco is going to trade him. I cannot see them trading him to Seattle in division. And Carolina already has their quarterback, right? Baker Mayfield. And when you take a look at where else he can land, I mean, there's spots that he can land as a secondary, as a backup. But I think you have to wait until the chips fall. Like again, you could trade him now, but what are you getting, right? Because most teams now know if you're trading with San Francisco, he's basically your second stringer, right? Like the value is basically gone.
I mean, yeah, I don't think San Francisco even cares about the return. I think they just
they
just want to get it off the books, right? So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you take a look at some of these quarterback needy teams. Like I said, Cleveland, depends how long Deshaun Watson is out. I really don't see that though.
Like if they don't want Jacoby Brissett starting for him, if Watson does miss
the odds
the season.
Still up on the DK Sportsbook for?
I don't know. I call it Atlanta just because, where would it be under, Jeff? Do you know? I haven't looked at
player futures, maybe
team specials, player futures. Atlanta's probably the one.
I don't even know. I thought they had them up for a point. I don't know.
I
can't remember now.
Yeah, we'll find them if they're there. I thought Atlanta was the one spot, right? That if you take a look at all 32 teams, like unless you have the Burrows, right, Jalen Hurts to an extent, obviously guys like Matt Stafford and the Rams, you're looking for a quarterback, right? Tampa Bay with Brady, you're looking for a quarterback. The only team that absolutely needs one right now is Atlanta. Like I said, as much as I like Mariota, as much as I like him.
Yeah, Jeff likes him too, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just feel like I think Atlanta is kind of set. Like they've got their, like I made the argument on Monday when we did the slate that, and the kind of news broke that they were like that Trey Lance was the starter, that Atlanta's signed their Jimmy Garoppolo and Mariota. And they also don't forget they drafted Desmond Ridder. right? Who, I think actually could be like the most underrated quarterback prospect in the draft. I think they're kind of set for this year because it's kind of a bridge year for them anyways. Like if Ritter stinks in preseason, they'll just redraft and like I don't know. Like you could be right.
Like the Colts is all
the one scenario for Garoppolo to Atlanta would be, okay, training camp starts, Ritter's a disaster. We don't just want Mariota like that. So I guess that like there's some possibility. I think it would depend on Desmond Ritter there. I still think it's Houston or Seattle. I really do.
Maybe
just because Garoppolo is basically like an upgrade for both those teams.
Maybe a contender loses a quarterback too. Remember,
for sure.
Right? I mean, nobody's rooting for injuries unless really right now you're the 49ers.
It's a good point. We're at the stage now where, like, guess what? You better start watching for ACL tears because, like, it's gonna start. Like,
remember the Vikings 2016? They lost Teddy Bridgewater to that freak injury for the season. They panicked. They made that bad trade. They sent 2 picks. That included a first rounder to the Eagles for Sam Bradford. Of course, that didn't work out.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot.
But teams who believe, can bring in a serviceable quarterback read like under center, who have a good playoff chance. Like no one's ready to punt on the season before week 1.
Yeah, the Ravens are another team, right, where you saw their running backs basically and
God,
Marcus Peters tear their ACL like in back-to-back practices.
Yeah.
But the Chargers usually have that moniker, that designation in the offseason, or they're always getting injured. But I mentioned the Colts a little bit, and you take a look at Matt Ryan. Right? Like I'm not saying Jimmy Garoppolo is like Matt Ryan, but if that's the style of quarterback that you want, and Matt Ryan obviously has much more draft capital, even though it was way long ago. Sorry,
I'm going to interrupt you. Go to player futures.
Yep.
Oh,
and then go to. There should be next team. It should say next team somewhere.
You know what, man? I don't know, dude.
What I have the odds.
Well, hold on a second. Let me try to do some work. Let me look.
Futures that I have the odds in front of me. The Seahawks are the favorite at plus 275.
Player futures. Hold on, guys.
What are you guys?
Next team. I got it. Hold on. I got it.
I don't know, dude.
Where are you? Reed?
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, he reads in like Florida or something. Maybe he's got some weird odds. I don't know.
Okay, here we go. Jimmy G, Seahawks, next team, the favorite, plus 275. Dolphins, plus 330.
Oh, the Dolphins have made a move here. That is weird. They were not second favorites on Monday.
Okay, say Dolphins, plus 330. Texans, plus 400. Then we got a bigger gap. Giants, plus 750.
Oh, and the Mike McDaniel connection. Okay, that actually makes sense. Oh, wow. Or Tua.
Yeah.
But again, okay, but what would that signify though, right? If he goes to from a business standpoint, I really don't think that happens. I think that's a red herring. I think that's, and as much as I want, like DraftKings Sportsbook to be successful, I got to be honest with you guys, like that's a red herring in my opinion. Because why would you bring in Jimmy Garoppolo when you basically just had him, right? Barring injury, no injury, like I basically say Tua, we don't really trust you.
It's not. Is it? The thing is, like, and Emerson mentioned this, like, it is good to actually have depth at quarterback. Like, I know on the surface, it'll probably create a media firestorm, and people be like, "Well, the Dolphins don't trust Tua," and maybe like some of that is true, but at the same time, like, I just go back to the Eagles in 2016. If that team doesn't sign Nick Foles, they don't win a Super Bowl. Like just by having quarterback depth. I'm sorry, but it's true. The one thing teams do not invest enough in is quarterback depth. Like your starting quarterback goes in. Like look at the Lions. They're starting David Blau for like 6 games. Dudes like that getting starts. Like if you invest in the quarterback position, that's why Tampa's rumored. Like when you have a good team, you should be investing in the backup quarterback position.
Well, that's why I was saying before you interrupted me.
I just wanted to say Nick Foles. I'm sorry.
It's been so long. Yeah, you got any more than Nick Foles?
Is that like the Colts, right? If you're going down that road, then that makes sense. But again, when you have a new regime that you do like you do in Miami, like, and especially when you have that tie, like yes, it's going to be a media storm, but like think about what it says to Tua as well.
Yeah,
right. We're bringing in all of these players, all of these key receivers. We're talking you up, and then finally, once Garoppolo is available, we're putting him on the board, like putting him in the backup. Like to Tua, that means I have to be perfect. I have to be absolutely perfect because I don't care if like they love Tua right now. McDaniel is saying, I want to keep this job. And if I have to put in Jimmy Garoppolo to keep my job because he knows more things, I want to do that and screw Tua. So like and then you're going to hear Tyreek Hill is saying Jimmy Garoppolo has the strongest arm in the NFL. Like that's just that's a recipe for disaster. I don't think it happens.
I think Tyreek's chosen his friend, is his boy. But yeah, I don't know. It's you're right. I mean, he's not right. Like psychologically, it's not a good look, especially for a quarterback who's not.
Who knows?
If this was like Kansas City, no one would be like, oh, like Patrick Mahomes. Like you're right.
But like we're talking rationally. Rarely do GMs and coaches do things rationally in the NFL.
Anyways,
I mean, this is it for Tua because Mike McDaniel, if he's not the guy, Mike McDaniel's gonna be like, okay, I got to get my own guy in here. That's it's as simple as that. Okay, we got 15 minutes to go in the show. Let's go to golf here, dudes, because the FedEx Cup playoffs officially on the horizon. This is this week and next week, I believe, the last ones. So a lot of guys trying to earn their way into the postseason. Reed T. Fowler, you don't have your usual backdrop. The reason is because you are in Florida, correct? You're going to be on the PGA Tour Live the next couple of days. You're going to be on the call.
Yeah, I'm in the Kapua suite.
Look at that. That's amazing. It's beautiful. I mean, you're like in Florida. You can't figure out anywhere else to go where you have a beautiful backdrop. You got to go with your curtains. I mean,
Colin, I think we've had enough hotel backdrops with Swatton on the ones and twos. Colin Swatton coming in and talking to us from like God knows where, like Quebec, Vegas. I mean, it's going to be in Cincinnati probably next week.
You guys missed the one where I did it at a Starbucks.
Yeah, no kidding. I'll be on PGA Tour Live on stream on the main feed, so stream 1 and then stream 4, which I believe is featured holes.
Okay.
This is like I was telling the guys we just had our meeting that I really like these kind of tournaments. Couple of things. One, obviously, we know that it's 2 more weeks, like you mentioned, the FedEx Cup, Emerson. So you have that implication. Number 2, there's a lot of things shifting now with guys who are on Live or who have defected to Live, and now they've been taken out of the FedEx Cup, right? And that has moved some players. So Jeff's boy, Chesson Hadley, is now right on the bubble, I believe, at that 123 mark.
And he could be better if he didn't bogey the last hole. I
know. God,
right.
That's why it's
top
so,
8. God.
Yeah.
Anyways,
trust me. Like that's why it's so cool. And Detroit Golf Club is this is the first time the golf tournament, not this year, but this course, that a golf tournament has been in the inner city of Detroit, and they're doing a lot of great things to bridge a digital gap, obviously, with charities and the course. Look, we know, right, Jeff? Like, hit the ball far. You don't have to, right? Hit the ball far. Be very strong with your wedges and make your putts. These Donald Ross greens pitch front to back, I believe, very undulating, smaller than usual.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to make your putts, and that should lead you to some guys.
All right, Ulrich, we've talked to you every day about this, and your guy, it's Cam Young, correct? Cam Young
that's my guy.
Wait, I'm sorry. Also, there are like 8 effing Cams in the field. Change your name, people. I'm sick of it. It's too damn difficult to remember.
Someone go to Live. Like that's what we need.
Well, we know one Cam who's probably going there.
Yeah, he's going to wait till after the playoffs.
Cameron Champ.
Yeah,
he's the one that does not like to be called Cam. So
that's right.
Like, Champ, you got to call him by Cameron.
Yes.
Okay, one thing I at least remember you saying, Ulrich, is you're not feeling Will Zalatoris. You're not feeling Willie Z this week. I know that.
I just, again, like you're asking Will Zalatoris to win a what is it? A bit of a putting contest. Like I mean, Bryson gained 7 strokes putting. Nate Lashley gained 9 strokes putting in 2019. These are the winners. And even Cam Davis last year, I mean, he only gained 3.7 strokes, but he needed a playoff to get it done. You need to basically just you need to just put lights out, and that's Will Zalatoris's game is just consistent tee to green ball striking. You want him on tougher courses. Of course he can win this week. Of course he can. These guys can win anywhere, but plus 1,200. I mean, for betting, it's not even he hasn't even entered my consideration this year. The only one I'd consider betting of the top 5 is Cam Young. That is the main Cam Young sort of argument. And I think it's a solid argument. I mean, he's plus 817. I think he's plus 1,700 now. He was plus 1,800. He may have even opened to plus 2,000, but even then he's the biggest number of the top 5. Cantlay, who I kind of prefer for DFS, but for betting, he's double the price of Cantlay. Like, yeah, I think you could realistically just ride the Cam Young train. He's gonna win soon. I'm betting him at 18-1. You can do that for a few events and still get good value out of it when he does hit. So I don't think it's a bad number for the field, but at the same time, I do like starting further down. I mean, I look at these events and it's just, last year had Troy Merritt in the playoffs. Like even Cam Davis, when he won, it was like 60-80-1. There's enough talent down here and guys who can, bring it with their iron game for a week and then just, get that spike putting that you need. I think Denny McCarthy is a good candidate for that this week. I think even Cam Davis at the same price has been playing really well. You could even just bet him again. And I think at double the odds, those guys, with the way they've been playing, I think that's fine to include those guys. So Danny McCarthy, I like. Chris Kirk is another guy. Chris Kirk to me still for DFS, I think his price is just bananas cheap. But Kirk is a guy I'm really interested in. Tee to green, he's been super good. It's so crazy, but like Chris Kirk has turned into one of the best drivers of the golf ball on the PGA Tour. Like he averages about 305, 303 yards per drive, and his accuracy off the tee, he's like top 40, top 30 in hitting fairways. If his putter gets hot on this course, he's gonna shoot like 20 under. So I think at plus 4,000, he's another candidate. Like I really like this week.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Cam Young, your guy Reed, he had a new caddy on the bag, right? St. Andrews. I think he eagled the last hole and that allowed him to take that solo second behind another Cam.
Yeah, he was on fire. And that's why I like Cameron Young or Cam Young. Guy never smiles. I've never seen him smile.
I've noticed that in all of the pictures that I've seen in all of the articles, like on DK Nation, I'm like, dude, what is going on? You're playing golf. Like, have a smile, like fake it every once in a while.
Deep V, like he doesn't button up, so you see the Ched, does not smile, which is why he's going to win this by 47 strokes. 10-1, I think. You talk about cheap. I think all the top guys are cheap, right? I think starting with Cantlay on the DFS side, 10-7 is cheap. I mean, you can get two of these guys in, and I tweeted this out earlier that all 3 years, right, the winning lineups use all $50,000 salary, and you've seen a handful of guys. This is what Jeff, I think, was kind of alluding to, is that you see a handful of these guys also below 7,000, right? That's seemed to be the preferred line of construction. But talking about Kirk, I mean, we see him pop at other birdie fests. Sony Open is kind of like that, and that's where Chris Kirk plays well. I don't mind, starting at the top. I like Cameron Young. I've also bet Maverick McNeely. I think both, even though McNeely, like 2,500 doesn't seem right for someone like that. And Jeff, when we were in our group chat, Jeff mentioned that he's played for 2 months straight, and I didn't realize that he's played for that long, right? Yeah. 8 tournaments in a row. That's a lot. But he's also like heir apparent to like the entire like Walmart legacy. So the guy's not traveling commercial.
No.
The PJ is fired up for him everywhere he wants to go. So it's not terrible when you're doing that. So I like those two guys at the top.
Wait, what's his connection to Walmart?
Is it Walmart, Jeff? Maybe not.
I don't think it's Walmart. I can't remember. I think it's software. I don't know. It's dead. Like
Walmart is different than software.
Maverick McNeely's big. Maverick McNeely's big.
Well, yeah, you're in Jacksonville. There's a lot of Walmarts.
I think
Maverick McNeely's decision in life was: do I want to be a professional golfer because my family is so rich that do I really want to be out here grinding? Like that was his big decision in life. To his credit, I mean, he's turned himself into a very competitive top end golfer. But I look at that number. I'm riding with McCarthy. I'm riding with Kirk. I'd rather bet those guys at bigger numbers. I think that in a lot of ways, like McCarthy actually probably has better upside. Well, similar upside to McNeely. I shouldn't talk him down too much. McNeely's almost won on tour a couple of times. They're probably similar and similar to Kirk, but got bigger numbers there. And I think Cam Champ, his number has really come down. I pointed it out on Monday. I pointed it out on Tuesday. Cam Champ's numbers finally come down to plus 5,000. He's plus 7,500 to open, which was ridiculous. I think he brings as much upside as some of the top players in the field. He's just not as consistent. He's not going to finish T5. He's going to finish T115 or win. So But
Well, that's what you want, though, right?
absolutely, that's what you want.
If you're
especially
betting
when there's-
outright,
yeah.
you want that. You want the extreme variance, right? You want the Nate Lashley who's going to basically be the last alternate in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
get him at 250.
Those guys are
That's
impossible
an outlier, but Trey Mullenix, Sobel mentioned Mullenix.
Trey Mullenix, I really like. I think that was a great call, and I think he is. I mean, he's on my card. I mean, I got him at 140 to 1 or somewhere, and I
want consistency when you're playing cash lineups, cash games, and if you're betting like top 20s, top 40s, right? That's when you want consistency, because the least amount of ROI, although it's the most fun, is betting outrights because only one guy wins, right? Only one player wins in a golf tournament.
Yeah.
So,
where is Trey Mullenix here?
I think it was at 150 or higher, like at plus 15,000,
plus 13,000. This guy won on tour. What, 2-3 starts ago? He was T21 at the Open.
Yeah.
Like, you're kidding. Like, Trey Mullenix has bigger odds than Grayson Sigg, JJ Spawn, Doug Gim, Nick Hardy, CT Pan. He's double like Troy Merritt.
Yeah.
Like,
Goddard
won 3 starts ago. He was T21 at the Open.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense. So, I mean, these are the things. Again, Reed and I aren't saying like Mullenix is going out to win, but like from a value proposition, I mean, there's no doubt that like that's the better value. And I mean, obviously you get to invest less by taking a Trey Mullenix bet. So
yeah, I'm going to tweet out my bets, in a little bit so you guys can see that. I think it's smart to think about too at this stage, right? Because we're kind of getting to the end of the season, and maybe for next season, even betting during the FedEx Cup playoffs is like the guys that you've been consistently betting, right? Every week. Yes, there are some golfers where if like Finau is a great example, right? I bet him every single week at 50, 40, plus 4,000, plus 3,000, and I don't bet him at plus 12,000 and he wins, right? My point is like, if you like these golfers and you think they're going to win a golf tournament, yeah, like Jeff and I and most people in our industry won't bet the Patrick Cantleys at plus 800 because there's no value because again, only one guy wins. Bet the guys that you've been betting consistently because at some point they're going to win, right?
And that's why I'm so bullish on Kirk this week. Because again, I thought his number was going to be close to like plus 3, plus 2,500. And he's a guy I do think is ripe to break through. I mentioned the off the tee consistency. So yeah, Kirk, I was very happy to get that number. I actually got a bigger number than plus 4,000, but I think he's bettable at plus 4,000. Let's put it that way. Just a very underrated season. Let's not forget, like, again, I say every time we talk about Chris Kirk this year, but dude had the lead at the Bay Hill with 3 holes to go. Yeah, he made a couple bogeys, but like
Scheffler won that one, didn't he?
Yeah, Scheffler kind of got gifted it to him, and that started the big Scheffler
out of like nowhere. Scheffler got the lead like on that hole Sunday.
Kirk, remember that.
Kirk had the lead, then Woodland had the lead, and then they just both made a couple bogeys, and Scheffler won. But like Kirk was there, like in a tough tee to green tournament with an elite field, he had the lead with like 3 holes to go, so he can do it. I just like the number. Again, we're just talking like value propositions. Reed's right. Guys you think are ripe to break through. From what I've seen from Chris Kirk, it can happen. He really just needs the putter to show up. I think everything else is there for him. So,
all right. Well, with Reed in Jacksonville, just real quick before we go, anytime we're in the Jacksonville airport, we always send our group chat a picture of Chili's. Were you at Chili's also the other day, Jeff? Was that a joke? You were somewhere. It looked like a Chili's or a Bennigan's or something.
At Chili's.
Okay. Do you have Chili's in Canada?
There's a Chili's knockoff.
Do you have Chili's in Canada?
Yeah, of course we have Chili's in Canada.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know how things.
Isn't the moon? Chili's is everywhere. Chili's is probably in like the Falkland Islands. Like,
yeah, no, it's true. What's your top 3 orders at Chili's? Rank them.
Okay, Breed goes first. I don't know. I haven't looked at a Chili's menu.
I think you got to go quesadillas.
Okay.
I think the quesadillas at Chili's, and you can. I mean, I'm not a big like seafood guy at a fast food restaurant or like a chain. So I'm not going to go like any sort of fast food, especially fried. Give me the chicken quesadillas. It's go nice and easy. Number 2, every one of these joints has a really good burger. Yeah, so I'm loading that burger. Right,
Chili's is a good burger.
Yeah, give me blue cheese. God damn it, give me that blue cheese on that burger and that bacon because that's what I want. And number 3, I went a little off the wall here. I'm going margarita. You know why? Everyone loves a margarita. Everybody loves a margarita. I don't care who you are. And I go no salt. I do no salt either. Dude, when I was in LA for MLB All-Star game for 5 days,
my drink of choice for 5 days, skinny margarita.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
what you could also do too, this is not a hack because it's not out of the ordinary, is go a little crushed ice. Crushed ice
Oh my
margarita.
God, that's
baby.
great. That's great. Okay, Jeff, do you have your order?
Steak fajitas would be
Yes.
fajitas and chilies.
Okay.
I like that. That is definitely, that's usually what I get. I haven't been to Chili's in a while, but that's usually what I get.
Yeah.
I mean, I think burgers and Chili's, burger would probably be my second as well.
Great.
I'm not going to Chili's to order like, some fancy steak or something. I want a burger, right? Like, that's ridiculous. That's not why you go to Chili's. And then, I mean, you could fill yourself up with, the proverbial, margaritas for a lunch. I would probably go. Lunch. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what else I would get. I mean, fajitas and burgers, like that's pretty much it. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I'm pretty much on the same page as Reed. That's like those are the top three. That's what you do. I mean,
it goes 3
lunch. Number
baby back ribs. 2 is the chicken, the crispy chicken tenders. With the side of corn and the fries, and 1 is the mixed fajitas, the chicken and steak.
Yeah, especially when it's sizzled when they bring it out.
Yeah.
Do they do that at Chili's anymore? Like, do they bring out the sizzling plate?
Yeah, they still bring that out. And so like this segment was very important because hopefully we can clip it and send
sliders
it to Chili's and get yes, their sliders are great.
Oh.
Everything at Chili's is great. And then you get that like there's that delicious concoction of like a coconut cake or something, like coconut chocolate skillet or something. It's a dessert.
No.
It's unbelievable, dude. Yeah, the margaritas and endless bottomless chips and salsa, 2-for-1s all day, every day.
That's how they get
Chili's.
I want
sponsor us.
Baby back.
Baby back. Okay, so wait, what did Evan just drop in? Seahawks wide receiver DK Metcalf. Okay. As players who are at training camp but not practicing due to unresolved contract issues.
Oh, right.
Like guys like Debo and Derwin James there, Charger safety.
Yeah.
Okay, something else to keep an eye on. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow on the SWAT. Jeff, I believe you're on it. Rundown's being filled out for that as we speak. Reed T. Fowler, enjoy PGA Tour Live. We'll be watching and listening to you down there in Florida. Coming up next for Madden, we got Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. So a little NFC South matchup. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Producer Eamon, thank you. AC on the 1s and 2s. We love you. Mean it. See everyone tomorrow morning for the SWAT, 11 o'clock Eastern time.
Jimmy Garoppolo rematch.
Oh.